Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we're going to be looking at an interesting one that is made specifically for Paladins, but could potentially be used on other characters. But I think it really shines on the Paladins specifically. It is Heaven's Light Mighty Scepter, which of course can be spawned in ethereal as well as non-ethereal versions. And it also has beautiful sockets. Let's go over this item together, and we'll talk about what it could potentially be used for, and I'll show you what I actually used one for recently. So we have 160 to 208 damage on this Scepter. It is 65 dexterity with 125 strength requirement and level 61, which is not really that high. We do have a very fast attack speed on this, which is due to the fact that it has 20% increased attack speed on it. It does have a plus to Paladin skills of +2 to 3, so it does vary by 1 point there. Definitely nice to find the +3 version. We also have a bonus to enhanced damage of 250 to 300%, so a variable of 50% on the enhanced damage. We also have negative 33% target's defense, which is amazing for melee characters, because just in general, you want monsters to have less defense so that it's easier for you to hit them. And negative 33% target's defense means you need less attack rating to be able to hit them. We also have 33% chance of crushing blow, which is amazing. 33% chance of crushing blow is a 33% chance to dish out 25% damage to the monster's current HP, not their maximum, and is amazing. It only does 12.5% versus bosses, and it does 10% in PvP. But it does actually proc multiple times and can be extremely useful on a myriad of characters. You can actually get even more crushing blow from other sources, like, for instance, Gore Riders, which give you another 15%, or quite a few other items, and stack it up even higher. We have 20 to life after each demon kill, which means it'll just give you a flat 20 life when you kill a demon. It also has +3 to light radius, and of course the 50% bonus damage to Undead, which functions as off-weapon ED. It does roll between 1 and 2 sockets, so unfortunately you can find a rather poor Heaven's Light Mighty Scepter with only +2 Paladin skills and only 1 socket. So keep in mind that you're going to be looking for a +2 with 2 sockets. You can also find this in the ethereal form with 240 to 312 damage, which is pretty darn nice. And the stat requirements do go down by 10, so 55 dexterity and 115 strength. This is already an elite item, so it does not have any capability of being upgraded. Now, Heaven's Light Mighty Scepter is just a pretty amazing item. The crushing blow, the negative target's defense, the plus to skills, the 2 sockets, all of which adds up to just a rather amazing weapon in general. And unfortunately, if you did have one of these that was ethereal and you wanted to use it, you would have to put a Zod rune in there to make it viable. But you'd still have another socket to do something with, which is pretty darn cool. One of the things that I did recently was I actually took 2 cold facets and put it in here, specifically for a Holy Freeze Paladin. I built a Holy Freeze Paladin over on live, and it was actually a really nice choice because the negative resistances, the plus cold skill damage in the 2 sockets, along with the relatively fast nature of this weapon, combined with the plus Paladin skills, the crushing blow, the negative target's defense, all added up to a very, very good combination for my Holy Freeze Paladin. And now he can pretty much walk around hitting everything for massive amounts of damage. Plus to skills is the most important thing for that kind of character, and it has +3, which is really hard to come to beat. And it also has a myriad of other really nice effects. This weapon could be potentially very good for a Zeal Paladin, could be potentially very good for a Vengeance Paladin, a Holy Freeze Paladin, a Holy Shock Paladin, a Holy Fire Paladin. I mean, quite honestly, you could utilize this very well on a wide range of Paladin characters. You could even potentially use this very well on a Smiter. You could put 2 Shale Runes in here to make it as fast as humanly possible, and you could still have your +3, your negative target's defense, your 33% chance to crush to blow, and you could deal massive amounts of damage and even use it to Zeal with as well. So it's certainly nice to have that crushing blow on here. You could also put potentially runes in there for open wounds. You could put more crushing blow in the weapon and make it have even more crushing blow than it does right now. I mean, theoretically, if you were to put, what is that? I think it's 2 burr runes in there. Do I even have 2 burr runes laying around? I do have an rune laying around, though, so that's one thing that you could do. You could put 25% chance of open wounds in there. You know, there are a lot of different things that you can do with an item like this for customization purposes. And that's really the kind of where this item shines, is that it already has very nice stats. The plus to skills, the crushing blow, the negative targets defense, the increased attack speed, all of which add up to a very nice item. It already has a relatively high amount of increased damage as well, at 300%, and it just functions extremely well in pretty much any situation you might want to put this in. If you were a Holy Freeze Paladin, you could put 2 Cold Facets. If you're a Holy Fire Paladin, you could put 2 Fire Facets. If you were a Holy Shock Paladin, you could put 2 Lightning Facets. If you were a Zeal Paladin, you could just put 2 Shale Runes in here and just have it be as fast as humanly possible. You know, if you found the Ethereal version, you could put a Zod Rune in there, and you could put something else, like maybe a 1540 Jewel. And you have a really hard-hitting, very fast item that also has a Crushing Blow on it. You could also customize it as a smiter weapon. You could put, for instance, an rune in there, so you can get a little bit more Crushing Blow, or sorry, open wounds. So you could put 1 rune for open wounds, so you'd have 25% open wounds and 33% Crushing Blow. You could also put a Shale Rune in there to make it a little bit faster, or you could even, if you want to go for broke, you could put something like some more Crushing Blow in there, or maybe another rune for even more open wounds. You know, there's a lot of different things that you can do. You could even potentially put, what is it, a low rune specifically for Deadly Strike, so you could have Deadly Strike in there. Although that's not good for a smiter, but could be good for another character, especially since Paladin doesn't generally have Deadly Strike, right? There's really a lot more to talk about with this particular item. It's just a really nice Scepter. Very, very usable on a lot of characters. And I think what we need to go to next is we need to take a look and see where you could potentially find this item, because I feel like that's it's kind of the clutch here, right? You know, you want one, so how do you get it? We're going to pretend, because this is a relatively high-level item, we're going to pretend that we are a relatively high-level character. So let's pretend we have at least about 300% Magic Find. And we're also going to be taking a look at bosses. So with 300% Magic Find versus bosses, we are looking at Mephisto in Hell is our best probability at 1 in 3,731, with Diablo and Baal coming up right behind, so not bad. For Quest Kill, Andariel in Hell does have a really good chance at 1 in 2,231, but that's only going to be... Actually, you know what? That's never mind, because Andariel always is Quest Kill now in Diablo 2 Resurrected. So it looks like Andariel is your best chance in Hell difficulty. So farm Andariel a couple times in Hell and see if you can manage to get yourself a Heaven's Light Mighty Scepter. Let's take a look at Super Uniques real quick too, though. So not really good probabilities here. 15,000, 18,000, 21,000. Bone Ash at 1 is a relatively easy monster to farm. It looks like he has a decent chance. Bishibosh and Rockanishu, these monsters both have pretty good chances to drop Harlequin Quest Shakos. So maybe this could be a good monster to farm. Just you could kill 2 birds with 1 stone, so to speak. Trying to see what other monsters here have a decent farmability. Shank, Doc Farron, Pendleskin. They're all relatively poor chances, but I mean, you can farm these guys in excess, so not terrible choices. It does look like Hell Andariel is really your best chance there, with a 1 in 2,231. And also Hell Mephisto is not a bad chance there either. So, so interesting. Baal and Nightmare does have a chance to drop this. Not a terrible chance at 1 in 8,179, which is a pretty good level to find this item. Like if I was a level 61 Paladin who was just leaving Nightmare difficulty into Hell, finding this in Nightmare difficulty would be a pretty big boon on my way through Hell difficulty. It would definitely help me out a ton as I go through Hell. And finding it from Baal and Nightmare would definitely be a good shot there. So interestingly enough, could potentially farm Nightmare Baal. You definitely have a good chance on the quest drop, and then not as good of a chance, but still a pretty decent chance on the non-quest drop there. So interesting choice as far as that's concerned, but it still does look like Hell Andariel and Hell Mephisto are your better bets. And I promised to show you guys the one that I was using on my Holy Freeze Paladin. So let me go over to him real quick. So here's my Holy Freeze Paladin. He is not fully decked out yet, but he does have some interesting equipment. And Heaven's Light is kind of hard to miss because it's a very blue scepter with a very red top on it, which is pretty, I think, pretty obvious that that's what it is. So so when you see somebody with this particular weapon, I mean, you're like, oh, you're using Heaven's Light. Okay, good job. Now, I have socketed mine with 2 cold facets, specifically for my build. I have the negative 10% enemy cold resistance and plus 8% cold skill damage. I'm also utilizing a Faith Bow on my Merc for the Fanaticism, which definitely helps out a ton as far as attack speed is concerned, because that is a consideration which I need to take into account. Let's go to River of Flame and see if we have a bunch of cold immune monsters here. Usually there is not, but sometimes there is. And as you can see, as a Holy Freeze Paladin, Heaven's Light helps me apply my damage quite nicely in Hell difficulty. Quite nicely indeed, as long as they're not cold immune monsters. But even if they are cold immune monsters, Heaven's Light tends to do enough physical damage where usually I can get by on killing monsters with Zeal alone. And the negative resistances from the 2 sockets, the plus the skills, all of which come together very nicely for this particular build to have a relatively awesome Holy Freeze Paladin. I love the fact that my Holy Freeze aura hits just about everything within range and slows them all down by 58% at this particular point. This character is not entirely finished and could potentially be stronger than he is right now. I do need a Nightwing's Veil for my helmet. I only have an ethereal Nightwing's Veil at the moment. I could be utilizing a better amulet than High Lord's Raft. And of course, there are some other upgrades that I could make here or there. I was considering using plus the skill here as for Spiderweb Sash. I was also considering swapping to Death's 2-piece, Death's Gloves and Death's Belt, but I was going to wait until after the 2.4 patch hits. I was also considering swapping to a different shield, specifically to get more cold facets, which I felt like would really help me. Or I was going to go to Medusa's Gaze, which would give me the lower resistance proc, which I also felt like could be very, very viable for this particular build. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my video, especially when we're talking about the heavenly light of the mighty Scepter. And as always, keep watching.